Hello and welcome to my channel, You Are The One, where we talk all things law of assumption to help make your manifesting journey easier and more fun. And today we are talking about other people's assumption and what to do when you hear them or see them rather than taking them in, making sure that you're really conscious in that moment so that, well, that's what we're going to talk about, so stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie. I am a qualified life coach and author specializing in the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville. It is the stories that we tell that create our reality. So if you want to change any part of your reality, then you have to know how to change the story first. And if you want to create the most amazing reality, it helps to know how to tell the most amazing stories and hold them long enough for them to be expressed in your reality. If you would like support with this, I am available for law of assumption coaching. I also have a free 21-day set yourself up with the ultimate self-concept course, which is the ultimate story that you want to be telling. And I am on Instagram. All of those details are in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. Okay, let's get into it. So today we are talking about other people's assumptions and what to do when you hear them. And where the inspiration for this video came from is a little note that was posted to a pole that is on the route where I walk, or the route if you're in America. And it's been there since I purchased this place in February, or when I moved in April, I can't quite remember. But anyway, I've been seeing this little post-it note that has been stuck to this post. It has survived all forms of weather events, winds, rain, storm, sun, everything. So over the last 6 months, I kind of just took random pictures of it because when I first read the note, I read it and I'll show you the picture, and it said, there will always be someone who hurts you, but you don't have to let them define you. First, when I read it, I go, oh wow, that's profound. Yeah, that's right. And then I went, hang on a second. There will always be someone that hurts you, but you don't have to let them define you. And I thought, no, that's not going to work for me. I'm not going to take that on. So what I did was I changed the assumption, because what happens is if we hear other people's assumptions and we're not conscious, or we're just not aware in that moment, those assumptions can slip in and then they become our assumptions, and then sure enough, we get them reflected back. I'm sure some of you have had the experience where you've heard somebody saying something and you've not been aware of it, and before you know it, your reality is reflecting back what they've just said. And you're like, wow, you know, they must be right, because we're not conscious of that. Now, as we come into law of assumption, and we're much more careful of the assumptions we choose to allow in. The other sort of caveat with this is that anything that's in your reality must first exist within you. So if you're seeing something in reality, then you want to look at it and bring it in and go, okay, well, it's not something that I consciously agree with, but if I'm seeing it, then it must be in there. So I'm going to change it to make sure that that's not an assumption that's living secretly in my subconscious and getting pushed out and reflected back. So I am constantly being aware and remaining conscious if I'm having conversations with people, or I'm just out and about, or I'm with a friend or something. And if somebody says something that sort of piques my interest or gets my attention, like it's an assumption that I'm like, oh, hang on a second, that's just not something I agree with. I don't fight them on it. I don't argue with them on it. I don't do any of that. I just note it. I check it, and then I change it within consciousness, because that's not an assumption that I want in my subconscious. But also, if it is in my reality, I also have to accept that that must be in my consciousness or my subconscious, because it's in reality, and whatever's in reality must somehow first be in within me, even if I can't consciously see it, or I don't even agree with it, or it's like, it sounds like the opposite to anything that I might ever think or say. Anything in your reality must first be made in consciousness, even that which you don't agree with, or you can never imagine yourself thinking or assuming, because you're everything. And we are awakening to our everythingness. So what I did with this, I saw it, I brought it in, and I want to take you through the progression of what happened to this assumption. So the next photo you'll see here, I took it maybe a few weeks later, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. It looks like the writing is fading. I just affirmed the new assumption. And then as you'll see here, we've had a lot of rain, and sure enough, the writing is getting more and more hard to read. And then I forgot about it. And then I was just walking there a few weeks ago, which is why I thought, oh, I'll make a video on this, because I saw, and I might check out what if the post-it's still there. And sure enough, it was still there, but look at it now. You can barely see it. It's just not there. And then the final one here It's amazing that this post-it note has remained in place this entire time, but this post-it note is completely blank. And it just felt to me like a wonderful example of what happens when you bring somebody else's assumption in. You own it within yourself and you change it. What it does, it dissolves that person's assumption. It no longer exists. So now when I look at that post-it note, I can say to myself, I have dissolved that assumption. That assumption does not exist in my consciousness. I know I am the creator of my reality based on the assumptions I'm holding in my consciousness. And if somebody is hurting me, I know that that's because there's something within me that's hurting me. I'm hurting myself. Everything's an expression of my I amness. So if somebody's saying mean or something cruel or anything to me, that's me doing that to me. So I'll own it. I'll use the I am technique with it. I'll rewrite it, and then I'll just hold the new assumption in consciousness. I know this sounds like a lot. It doesn't take as long as what I'm explaining. I'm doing it on the go. I'm doing it when I see it. Like when I saw that, when I did it on the go, like I'd done it before I'd even finished walking over the bridge, which is where the little note was. It sounds like a lot because I'm explaining it step by step. But when you get proficient with this, and when you're just doing this on the go and you're just remaining conscious to your reality moment to moment to moment, and you're changing what comes in and you're just like tweaking it and going on your way, this stuff becomes fast. You're not standing around like going, oh, okay, hang on a second, step by step by step. I mean, maybe in the beginning when you're learning a new skill, it does feel like it's taking up a bit of time, but you will get faster at it. You'll get more proficient with it, and it'll get easier and simpler as you get more experience with just doing it. As you become aware of it, you're moving through your day. Because you want to be cleaning up your consciousness as you go through your day. You don't want to be holding on to stuff and then getting to the end of the day, and then, as Neville says, you go back through the day and you revise anything unfavorable. Ultimately, you want to get to the end of the day and there's not a whole lot to clean up. You're pretty clean and clear when you go into sleep. So you're always working with your stuff. Remember, you're always manifesting. You're always creating moment to moment to moment. You're either doing it consciously or unconsciously. Whether or not you know law of assumption and you're applying law of assumption is the way the game works. You are producing your reality based on whatever stories and assumptions you're holding in consciousness. So if you're unconscious to those assumptions, or you're not even knowing how the game is played, you are going to be getting unfavorable realities reflected back. But of course, you know that that's not how the game is played. You know that it is coming from consciousness, and so you want to be changing it and working with yourself on a moment-to-moment basis. Of course, we are human, having a very human experience. We forget. We have amnesia. We forget. We wake up. We remember, oh, okay, that's right. I forgot. We get back on, we forget again, we get back on, and we just practice and practice and practice. And you know what? You'll start to find yourself where the ratio to forgetting and remembering is actually getting smaller and smaller, and you'll be remembering more, forgetting less. The more you practice this, the more you work with yourself on a daily basis, the more you work with your consciousness. Even these little things, like a little sign that means nothing. I went up and I had a look at it. Now, if I'm reading it, it's in my consciousness. Therefore, it must exist within me. So therefore, I want to change it. That's not an assumption that's going to give me a favorable result. If I have the assumption that always going to be people who are going to hurt me, F that. I'm not taking that one on my walk, and I'm certainly not taking that in my life. So I quickly revised it then and there. And then it was amazing to see this assumption dissolve literally before my eyes. And the fact that that post-it note survived all these weather events, but just, it became a blank piece of paper. I now get to write the assumption that I choose to have. That assumption no longer exists. It's not in my consciousness, therefore I can't see it. And I just thought that was a wonderful example of what happens when you change the assumptions in consciousness. You will see that result reflected back. It will dissolve, and then you get to write the new assumption. Because remember, as always, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you, assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. If you would like to subscribe, I would love to have you. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, and share, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.